Welcome back to another episode of the Legendary Sports Podcast. We are live and in person today on this wonderful Friday.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Some terrible news. That's what's going on.
Oh, man.
Everybody, you probably already know.
Cue the music, please. Can you cue it?
I'll have to throw some sad tunes on this track because the Bengals suffered a massive loss. Joe Burrow, the season with the wrist injury. Moment of silence to the fantasy value for everybody over in the on the Cincinnati Bengals team, because it's going downhill after this week.
Hey, listen, I said this earlier today. Non-fantasy wise, Joe Burrow is going to hurt himself out of being a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Gosh, that stinks to think about because he's so good. You know, like, he's such a good football player, but it's one of those things, like, I hope that's not your career trajectory, but
it seems to be it. And I don't mean that he's going to hurt himself and, like, you know, have a career-ending injury.
Yeah, but they're going to be nagging for his career.
But he's just hurt so much. Like, look at earlier in the year, right? He stunk it up the first 3 or 4 games where he just was not Joe Burrow-like, right? We had all these high hopes from him coming back, and we didn't know how severe that calf injury was. He had the calf injury, and he was just not right. Mm-hmm. He was just not right. And then the calf injury gets healthy after about week 4 or 5 it was, and we start to see Joe Burrow. And then out of nowhere, he comes up with a wrist injury where we had no idea about. Yeah. And then last night, boom.
Yep.
Just like that, over.
It is.
You know, his first year leading Rookie of the Year candidate, right? Boom, ACL. Like that. You know, he's just hurt all the time. He's missed so many games.
His offensive line gets him destroyed, and this is what the repercussions are.
Cincinnati, if you're out there, invest in that line.
But that's what they talked about even when his first 2 years. The reason he got hurt that first season was because the O-line was bad. He's scrambling for his life on every play. It's going to be an Andrew Luck situation, and that's what stinks. That's what I compare it to. You're just going to keep getting destroyed, and they're never going to do anything about it, and we're going to miss one of the generational talent.
Yeah, man. I think I hate to say it because Joe Burrow is my favorite quarterback in the league right now. And a healthy Joe Burrow is an arguable number 1 quarterback.
Yeah.
I'll argue with anybody about him being the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah. You'll get some debate, but, like, you have every right to put him up in there, you know. I put him up in there too. I mean, he's beaten, Mahomes before, so it's like
not just beating him once. He's beat him a couple times.
Yeah. So, he's a true competitor and could be easily a Hall of Famer if his career can stay, healthy, because he could be duking out for a long time if they keep him upright. Offensive line's critical. This is all football talk first here. This is our sad moment of paying respect to Joe Burrow. We appreciate you, though.
Yeah, so with that being said, man, I mean, the game last night was just...
It was all Ravens all day, The energy was out of the room for the Bengals, right? So, Bird Gang all day. But there was also injury on the other side of it, too, And Mark Andrews going down.
All right, guys, so let's just talk about the heartbreak and agony I went through. Like, and my hair is out. I'm froed out today because I was just
stressing about this.
I couldn't take it, man. So I'm in 2 big-time leagues, right? I'm in 2 big-time leagues. And in one of the big-time leagues, Joe Burrow is my quarterback. And Joe Burrow was putting it on. I was winning games because of Joe Burrow. Boom, he goes out on the first play of the game. Or not the first play of the game, but he goes out in the second quarter with about 8 minutes or so left to go in that half.
Too long,
6
was in the
minutes
first
or
half,
something.
though, yeah.
Yeah, he goes out. And he was just starting to heat up. He threw a touchdown. He was 11 for 17, 101 yards and a TD. He was just starting to
I was
heat up.
worried because if we're playing each other this week, I was worried about that with that Joe Mixon touchdown. I'm like, that's not what I need right now.
Yeah, and the trajectory of the game just changed. The linebackers was putting 7 in the box,
Yeah.
8 in the box because they didn't believe in Browning throwing the ball.
Yep.
And it was just bad. So Joe Mixon, I also have Joe Mixon in a lot of leagues, which also killed Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I also have.
So I was just saying, this is that whole like you ride or die if you draft consistently, right? Like if you draft consistently and it works out, it does. But then when injuries strike, it's like, man, that's 3 teams out with a key player, or whatever many it is. But it's multiple teams. You ride or die by those situations when you draft consistent, in multiple leagues like that.
And that's my whole strategy is to draft consistent. I also lost Mark Andrews in the leagues that we're in together because we argued about Mark Andrews being top tier rivalries
tight end.
And although Lamar Jackson had a really good night last night, the Bengals secondary is awful. So
Yes.
if your quarterback is playing the Bengals, put that man as a starter. Go seek him out. It doesn't matter. Find some room on your bench for a different quarterback. When they play the Cincinnati Bengals, you start them because the Cincinnati Bengals defense as a whole is just terrible.
Yeah.
Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendricks is great.
And they're going to be on the field a lot because that offense is not going to go anywhere. So they're going to be so worn out, man. They're just going to be able to throw and run. Every team will be able to throw and run.
Everything's going to be great. So if you're playing the Cincinnati Bengals from here on out, guys, keep that in mind.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about something else along those lines in a second.
Yeah.
But
so where does everybody drop? So to recap this in the fantasy aspect, where does Lamar drop without a top weapon like that? Where does and then where do the Bengals skill position people fall into? Like, are they like flex at best? Are they dart throws at best? Where does everybody drop out to? Let's give this for the people. What do we think?
Well, to me, Lamar wasn't playing that great of football anyway with Mark Andrews.
Well, that's the thing is like if he's not playing great with Mark, then where does it go after this?
I mean, I think he needs to. I started to text you. I tried actually to call you last night, and I didn't get through.
Google updates. Google.
I tried to call you when he threw the pass to Odell Beckham, and Odell Beckham's just running scot-free, and he overthrows him. And I'm just like, this is why I don't like Lamar Jackson. And then he gets a slant. He gets a slant where the guy takes it 60 yards. I mean, you can't account for that. Mm-hmm. Then you get the tip pass. Was the tip pass the one that took 60 yards for a TD and called back, or was
I can't remember.
The tip pass was a different one that he got. He threw it and it got lucky as a tip pass and got like a 40-yard gain off of it.
Oh yeah.
And then Odell was being Odell. He took a couple, big gainers.
Yep. But it was run after the catch activity.
Yeah,
so.
But it wasn't Lamar. Lamar, when he has to throw the ball downfield, it's not pretty. He got bailed out on a couple of pass interferences as well, which helped move their offense that I didn't agree with. However, I think he stays the same. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, he had 30 fantasy points in our 6-point per touchdown scoring settings, 24, whatever it is, without that. So he had a pretty good week. It was above, I think his yardage totals just aren't very high because, again, those deep shots, they don't connect enough. And so it's a lot of, short dink and dunk, run after the catch plays. I think he stays about the same. I don't think because his running's down, so that lowers his value because they're rushing the ball in with Gus Edwards and company now. So I think he'll stay about like 70 points a game. I think that's where probably he'll land. So he's not. I don't think he'll have those boom weeks the way that we are used to seeing, though. I even started Kyler over him this week because I think Kyler's got more boom opportunity. So
with that being said, How do you feel about the Ravens as a whole? Their whole offense, everybody.
I think this helps. Like I think this is gonna force him to put Lamar in a situation to throw to his receivers more and figure out, hey, like, can we get you better at these deep passes? Can we get you better when people are doing flag routes, post routes, fades and everything like that? Like this is that time because now you don't have your security blanket that you would usually dump to over the middle. You gotta go to these other guys. So I'm hoping that it increases the receivers because it should. Those targets gotta go somewhere, and increases his mindset of like, hey man, like I said I want to be a QB, so it's my time now to be a QB. Let me show that I can do that.
Well, I thought you was gonna go along the lines of it's time to starting Gus Edwards again. I mean, he's proven.
Oh, you gotta start Gus.
Man,
They want to run the ball. They're back to wanting to run the ball.
I've sat Gus Edwards for the last 3 weeks, and he's been on my bench.
Really, I have been starting him
tearing it up.
Yep.
So I think it's time to start, and even Keontae Mitchell. I think it's even time to start Keontae Mitchell for those of you who haven't. And if he's in the free agents, go get him. On the flip side of that,
the Bengals all take a dive. So I asked you earlier, about the Bengals, and we're talking a lot about this team, so we'll get off here in a second. But this is big, right? So for me, everybody goes down to even Jamar Chase. I can't even count him as a 2. I think he goes down to a 3, a flex or a 3 at best. Like because there's out of all the backup quarterbacks and the rookies that are playing, I would put Browning probably in the bottom of even some of these young guys. Anybody who's starting with Stroud, I would start. Like over T. Higgins, over Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase, like you'll rank up there because of name. You'll put him in the top 24 because of name value, and he's the only thing that'll save Jake Browning from drowning.
Browning and drowning.
Yeah, but no, T. Higgins, I'm probably not gonna be starting him much the rest of the season. I'm gonna start Tank Dell over him. I'm gonna start Rashee Rice over him because they're in better situations.
That's fair. I can't argue with that.
So,
man, those also guys, look out for Isaiah Likely. The guy is he's a gamer.
If he's available, pick him up.
When it's on, it's on.
Yep.
So, I had a question.
Yeah.
And it was right now. We've seen the best of what we're gonna get now, right?
Yeah, we kind of see what the teams are, what situations.
So now, as Steve Smith would say, it's up to the Jags.
Yeah, if they can get it together.
No, I'm not talking about the Jags. I'm not talking about the Jaguars. I'm talking about Jags as the guys that he called just a guy. The whole thing where
I don't know. I don't listen to Stephen A. much.
Not Stephen A. Steve Smith, where he got into it with Judy because he called him just another guy, just a Jag.
Gotcha.
Just another guy or just a guy.
Yeah.
It's up to those guys, the Jimmys and the Joes, or the guys.
The average Joes out here.
What is the worst trade that you've seen so far this year in all of your leagues? And 2,
we already know which one. We talked about in the last
well then we won't talk about that.
That was.
I honestly seen
see our last episode. You'll know.
I just had a trade in my other league where AJ Brown got traded with some others. I can't remember, but the names were in it was AJ Brown, and he received Derrick Henry and Mark Andrews in that deal. But he also sent out some other pieces. I can't remember, but I just remember trading away AJ Brown, and I was just like, I don't know if I like that trade.
You traded away AJ Brown?
I did not.
Oh, that
I
other
never
person.
do such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. Like, that's not as far away to me as the other one that happened. Like, if you look at Mark Andrews and what he could be to a team, he can be a game changer. Now, obviously, injury is hindsight, but if you look at, like, just from the talent standpoint without the injury, like, he is one of the top 3, 4 most talented tight ends playing. He might not get the rock. Like if you trade him and Kelsey around, you know what I'm saying? It'd be a whole, you know,
I don't want to hear that. You better say trade him and Laporta or somebody.
well, yeah.
Because you was on talking about Kelsey was on a whole nother level. You was saying
He is, and he is on another level, and it is because of his receiving skills. But he also has a way better situation, right? Like you're gonna tell me that you wouldn't put Lamar Jackson a better Patrick Mahomes a better thrower than Lamar? You wouldn't think that would make a difference in the stats that Mark Andrews would regularly get?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So the situation makes a difference too. Like so his talent mixed with because he's a blocker, he'll be on the field all the time. That's the difference. Like he's an all around tight end. So he'll be on the field all the time. So you put him on the Chiefs, you got Cooksville. you know.
Fair.
So I forgot where I was gonna go with that, but what was your question? Totally forgot where we're going.
The worst trade that I've
Oh,
seen.
going back to that. So to put the value back on that, his value and what he could bring is better than what the other trade could bring with the high end. Like the ceiling for those players were so much lower than what Mark Andrews could be. And Derrick Henry's ceiling is much higher than in that other trade than those other players could be. We saw what the ceiling has been for those guys in that trade, and they did not come close to the ceiling of the guys that were traded away. They're not even close.
That's fair. AK was also dealt in the. AK was also dealt in the deal. So with that, right? Where do you see yourself right now in these leagues right now? Where are you? What do you need to happen? And how are you feeling?
The leagues that I'm in, again, I gotta win out in the big money league. Like if it's win out and someone's gotta lose out for me to even make the 6th place spot. Like I gotta have somebody needs to take a fall far from grace, and whoever the Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase people, maybe they're it. Right now, I'm playing one of those people that has Chase and it helped out. You know, he didn't put up a 20-point game; he had 7. You know. So it's a standard league, so there's no PPR status on this one. But then the league that you and I are playing, I'm good. Even if I lose, I'm comfortable. I have a good team.
We'll lose then.
Ooh, look at that. Even, the fantasy guys don't even like what he said right there. Threw the mic at him. Threw the mic at him. No, I'm comfortable in that league. There we go. Just because I built that team to have decent depth with good upside. You know, I've traded for Deebo Samuel. I traded for Garrett Wilson. I have Rashee Rice, and I have Tank Dell. So I have some of the good young guys, but I also have some good vets in the game that can help sustain my team. I also have some of the best running backs where I got Kamara, I got Travis Etienne, and I have Bijan Robinson, which as long as Arthur Smith keeps it together over there in Atlanta, I'm good about Bijan. He was good last week, right? So I'm comfortable in that league. I like my talent. I wish I did not drop Trey McBride. That was
yeah, that was a bad one.
Yeah, that was bad. I dropped him a week too early. I should have gave it a little bit more time, but I needed to pick up someone for the bye weeks. So I was like, what's my move? But I'm good there. And then the other leagues, like I'm in the auction league. I'm right in the middle of the pack. I think I should win this week. We'll see. Again, fantasy football, anything happens, right? So, but I'm good. I'm good in most of my leagues and work lead, and I'm second place. Only 3 losses. So, yeah.
Do you feel like you got a chance to win any of them?
Work league for sure. The league that we're in, the MSP league, I feel good. Even with the trade that went on, like I said, I ain't stopping the trade. I'm going to plow right through and keep doing my thing. And I feel good. I can compete against that team. I'm not too worried about it. Because I built around the T. Higgins thing. So my situation was T. Higgins was my number 2, but I couldn't rely on that, and it showed. So I built around that, and now I have good number 2s. So
you trying to trade T. Higgins or no?
Yeah, I've traded T. Higgins. I mean, his value's so low. Like, I I will probably take scraps at this point. Like, I'll admit I'll take scraps at this
Hey,
point.
I was just gonna say I'm only giving a pack of bubble gum.
Yeah,
though,
man.
right?
I'll get more value out of that because I like Higgins as a talent, but it's a situation, right? We're basing this on situation. The situation is what it is, right?
I think
So,
T. Higgins is the number 2, number 1 guy. I think
Yeah.
that if that makes sense to you,
Yeah,
right? He's
like,
a number 2,
like,
but he's the
if Joe Burrow was healthy, like he would be like a 1A 1B situation where like he'll get like him and like Chase could both walk away with 100 yards or 60 yards and a touchdown and 5 catches or something. Still get you anywhere between 15 to, you can go up to anywhere to 30 points if he wants to.
Yeah,
you know?
he did the other week before he got hurt, right?
Yeah, he
With
did. He had
those 10
28.
grabs and
Yeah,
10 grabs and some
yeah, like
amount of yards.
28.9 or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
He did it, man.
There's very
So-
few like that. Like Jalen Waddle will be one of those people that you could consider, because he could just have a boom game. So there's not a lot of teams that have that though. And then there's if Kirk Cousins was up, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. So a few teams like that. Very few though.
Okay, so let's talk some people that you should starting believing in. Some
Yeah.
people that you might have actually and or lost confidence in.
Let's do both. Let's go from both sides of it. So let's start. We're gonna do it sad. We're gonna start positive and go negative because this is a sad episode because Joe Burrow. So we're gonna start positive and go negative.
Okay.
So for people who I'm believing in a lot more, surprisingly, it's Garrett Wilson. After the whole thing with Aaron Rodgers, you thought that his value would go almost to null. But Zach Wilson has kept him afloat with just peppering with a ton of volume. Like the volume that Devontae Adams would get. It's not good quality. That's why he doesn't score touchdowns. But if you go 8 for 90 or whatever, and you're getting 17 points out of them, like, fine. That's way more than I thought he would be. I thought he'd be like 9 to 11. So, and I've been getting everywhere between 15 and like 18 points from him. So I'll take that. So that was been a surprise because of where you thought would drop from the quality of QB play that he would get. Shout out to Robert Saleh for being a beast.
Shout out to Robert Saleh, man. I'll tell you one that I'm a little what was it? A little
We're positive on people who were
positive?
surprised by it,
surprised and positive by.
Yeah,
I took a big gamble on Jerome Ford, and the dude has been balling, man. Like, I'm really surprised at him this year and what he's able to do after coming in after Nick Chubb. I'm surprised and happy with Kevin Stefanski on not turning it completely over to Kareem Hunt, seeing as that he was in the system before and he's been there and he knew what he was doing. They stuck with Jerome Ford, so I'm a little surprised with that one.
Yeah. For me, it's Gus. I didn't realize how many touchdowns he'd be. He's getting the Jamal Williams from last year level of touchdown activity. Like, so Lamar hasn't been, and this will be probably on the other side, but hasn't been getting the points, right? But it's also because they don't use him in the red zone like they used to. They used to use the option stuff. They used to use all that, but now they don't. It's all Gus. And those touchdowns are just showing. He doesn't always get a lot of yards, but like it's either 80 yards or a touchdown, or it's 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's like, yeah. So that has been a surprise for how much they've used him in the red zone, and how much they've used him when they're in scoring position versus Lamar, especially after paying Lamar.
That's fair.
And that will go on to my negative side too, of where you drafted Lamar in the 4th round, 5th round. You have not gotten that value out. You had a couple of boom games. This last one was a good game, but you're not getting the 35-plus Lamar if you're in 4-point per passing touchdown leagues, or if you're in the 6-point, like the 44, 45 points it could be. So it's just not happening. And yet, to me, he's got the best weapons he's had in a long time, and it's not happening.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair. One guy that I'm also surprised in is David Montgomery.
Yeah, I was surprised too. And that's when I kind of eat some crow on because I didn't like split backfields, but he took over the split for a majority of the season.
And you talked me out of it. I normally draft him, and you definitely talked me out of drafting him.
I'll eat the crow on that one. That was a big surprise.
But he has been killing. He has been killing for sure.
Yeah,
for
he's,
sure.
He's been RB1 for almost all the season, And even by points, I think with him even being out, though, I think he's still in the top 12 career points. So that's with him missing games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I owe you an apology on that one. You know who I don't owe you an apology on? Najee. He's been a disappointment.
No, you have not. I was just about to say how good he's been. Dude, the dude has been killing it.
Nah, he's a
The
disappointment.
dude has been killing it.
He started killing it the last 3 games.
Hey.
The last 3.
Hey. The
'Cause
last 4. The last 4.
4 games.
The last 4. The last 4. He's been if we're talking PPR 16.
But
16,
now what
11,
happened though?
16,
Even with all he's done, they still want to start who? That means there's something wrong in the Najee train to go to Jalen Warren.
Hey, you know what?
So
I'm just gonna say, listen.
and that's how my surprise is Jalen Warren. And it's surprised to a degree, but this is the thing I'm most impressed about. Usually when a guy doesn't take over the starting job when he's been hyped in the preseason, I drop him. I drop him quick. And I regret it later. This is the first time I held on to somebody, and it panned out. I actually stayed the course, and here we are. It took 11 weeks, dig it, but we're here.
Hey, I'm still curious to see what happens with Najee. I think that they've been doing a great job.
He's the change of pace guy now.
Hey, he's the change of pace guy, but they've been splitting the work.
It's still gonna be close.
Yeah,
It's still gonna be close. It's gonna be like a 3 to 4 carry difference. So it's just to see who makes the best of those carries at this point.
yeah, and it could be Najee next week. But I've been very pleased with him as of late. I tell you one person that I haven't been very pleased with, Trevor Lawrence.
Yep, I agree. Been rough sledding there.
It's like they're winning games, so it gets masked.
Yeah,
How bad he's
but they're
been.
winning. It was not talking about the why and the how, right? Like
He's been awful.
it's all ETN. It's all ETN.
It's all ETN. He's been awful, man, and it's bad when it gets going. It's awful, which in turns turn into that whole offense being awful. Evan Ingram's been okay. Christian Kirk has been
Good. He's been a surprise.
He's been a surprise.
He's the number
for sure.
one, for that team.
And shout out to Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill said that Christian Kirk is a number one guy. He's a guy he said that this offseason. I seen it.
And everybody hated when they paid him a bunch of money. And he actually showed out the first year he was there too. Like, hey, man, I was just shy of 1,000 yards. Like, I was right there, And, now he's even with Calvin Ridley coming in, Evan Ingram being there, ETN, he still gets his. You're right. Hill, you're right. You're right. We right. So,
yeah. Christian Kirk, man. Christian Kirk, I love it.
You know who's going to be a beast? Justin Fields. We're going to talk about that return.
Go have at it. Go for it.
Hey, man, I'm ready to start DJ Moore, start Cole Kmet. The offense to get supercharged. Khalil Herbert's coming back. I think they're going to be in a much better place now. And it's going to take some pressure off of Fields to have Khalil Herbert back over the other running backs that have been there. Not that Foreman's been bad. Foreman's actually been pretty good. So they have some depth there. But I think the Chicago Bears are going to upgrade. And Fields, after this game he's probably only going to be 18 to 20 points. But I think he'll go back to some 30-point games again. I know he will.
Every time
And
he
his
starts
schedule's
to
not
talk
terrible.
Every time he starts to talk about trash bag, I gotta go to sleep because I am just not a believer in him, man. I just don't believe in him. And here's also the thing, right? The guy who started this off for us, right? With the running quarterback, the mobile quarterback, moving the pocket, being able to get outside the pocket, being able to run downfield, was the one and only
Michael Vick.
And he did it at
It actually happened both. Well, yeah, there's some players before that. I would
there
probably
was
say
some,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in our lifetime, when
we watched, that was really
when we watched, and
Vic did transition it though. He did. He transitioned it. Yeah.
He took it, and he now is what everybody is compared to.
Exactly.
There's
I agree with
guys
that.
Before, but when there is the standard, the gold standard is Michael Vick, and I don't like these quarterbacks, the Lamar Jacksons, the Justin Fields of the world, and someone else to come along as well. The Cam Newton, I love Cam Newton just because of his story, but these guys miss high, far, wide, underthrow, overthrow. They miss and they play the spot of a quarterback where you're supposed to be able to throw the ball. Now, Michael Vick was able to throw the ball, but man, them legs was dangerous. And we all love Michael Vick because he still was able to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson,
he was a decent thrower.
Look, he was better than Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields by far, and Cam Newton by far. They made him look like he should be up there with Peyton Manning with those guys. The way that he threw the ball.
I think later Vick was a better thrower, but Falcon Vick was not that. Like, he had a strong arm, but he wasn't very accurate.
He wasn't okay. Yeah, later Vick was great, but
like Philly Vick was actually accurate. He was different. He was accurate and could run. I never saw that coming.
Philly Vick was good.
Yeah.
But these guys, man, like I don't like it from a fantasy standpoint because Lamar Jackson wins games. How does he do it? It's ugly. He's been averaging 12 points, 13 points.
Yeah, you're right. He's better in a football situation. He's not good from a fantasy situation.
And this is what we're talking about.
Yep.
And this is what I care about. I don't care about the Ravens as a football team. I care about them.
Respect the Ravens. That's I'll tell you.
Man. But I mean, from a sports perspective, right? Like, I mean, you have to care because this is what fantasy is. You got to care about it. I got Gus Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Odell Beckham and what he's done over his career, but I can't go get Odell Beckham because I don't believe in the quarterback throwing him the ball.
That's fair. Yeah.
And that's
the stats have shown that this season it's not been good. Yeah.
The DJ Moore, like I like DJ Moore, but I can't trust Justin Fields to get the job done.
I don't know, man.
I like Cole Kmet, but I can't trust the.
That's the difference between I do trust Fields because it's happened, and it's happened multiple times this season, and DJ Moore is constantly involved when Fields is on the field.
Lamar Jackson came out week 1 last year against the Miami Dolphins and shredded them for like a 450 and like
5 touchdowns.
And a 5-piece burger. Like he gave it to him with some mild sauce on the side, and then he came back the next week and threw 120.
I'm not saying you won't ride the roller coaster, but look at where the state of quarterback has been this year anyway.
You don't have time to ride the roller coaster in fantasy. Every week matters.
You can ride the roller coaster the first 3 weeks. If you can.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it since we're here. You've rode the roller coaster with Lamar Jackson. Tell me how it's been.
Terrible. But hold on. I rode the roller coaster with Justin Fields, and I'm on a 6-game winning streak.
Justin Fields has nothing to do with your 6-game winning streak. Don't throw him in there.
Really? So 42 points doesn't help me win a week?
He's been hurt the last 3 weeks.
But he's the one who got me up there before those last weeks.
He was hurt the last 3 or 4 weeks. So you're riding a 6-game win streak. He had 2 good weeks.
Yeah, 2 good weeks. But he was still good enough to keep me not lose me any weeks. Let's put it like that.
But what was he doing? What was he doing the 3 weeks prior? What was he doing when you got?
Yeah, like 15 points.
So,
I can live on 15.
You know what? I'm gonna go do some research.
Go for it, man.
I'm gonna go do some research.
I can filibuster.
Because oh, this isn't you.
No, go find my team.
I'm
down the hill into the pits. Actually, I gotta change my team there now since I'm not. I don't have Kyle Pitts anymore.
You don't have Kyle Pitts? You traded him away?
Yeah, I traded him away. I traded him for Debo. I traded Pitts and Christian Watson for Debo.
13 points, 5 points. 5? That's the one he got hurt, though. I'm not.
Yeah, I knew it.
I tried to sneak that one in there. I mean, he was, like you said, he was okay.
Yep.
17, 16, 13.
Yep.
Then he had the 2 good weeks where he had 38 and 43
Then he got hurt.
versus Denver and Washington.
Hey, Denver, you can't hate on because they have now beaten 2 good teams.
Man, we can't go back and hash out things that they've done way before. And Denver.
If I'm giving compliments to a team that Russ is on, like that is hard for me to do. So that is impressive.
You don't like Russ.
I don't care for what he. I think it's all just so fake.
Hey, I don't care nothing about your personal life, Russ. You're my man, and you held us down in Seattle for.
Yeah, you're a Seattle fan. Even in Seattle, like he's good. Like you don't win a Super Bowl being bad. Peyton Manning's last year he was bad, but he was good for most of his career, so you can get a little bit of a pass. But you don't win a Super Bowl usually by being bad quarterback. So he is a good quarterback. Mine is more of the personal, like so. Mine goes different.
Yeah. Okay, I feel you. On the flip side of that, right? Like Russell is dealing with the same thing that Joe Burrow is dealing with in Cincinnati. He doesn't have time to throw the ball, which is hard to then go out and get receivers like Cortland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy, speaking of, right? He is awful. I'm not a fan of Jerry Jeudy. From where he came from, what he was supposed to be and what he's doing, it doesn't match up. It doesn't match. And I'm not putting that all on Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson has found ways to get guys the ball. He's found ways to win them games as of recent, and he's finding ways to score points. And Jerry Jeudy is just not involved in that. And you got to take a look at yourself when it's a you thing.
And they don't connect when he is involved. Like they try to get like there's some passes they threw to him, but he just looks out of place right now. He doesn't look like he's a confident player right now.
He doesn't look like a gamer. Yeah. And like when all else fails, I think Cortland Sutton is a gamer. I think he keeps going. I think Russell Wilson's a gamer. I think that's why they turned it around. And shout out to the Broncos. But since we're talking about being bad, I've said this before. Or you said they won games. They're winning games, but also the Bills are just bad. Josh Allen is bad. Stephon Diggs, bad.
Yeah, I think getting to the playoffs has given them runway, but I think that runway is getting shorter now. Like that, they are like close to just like we just gotta break it all apart and start.
Well, it doesn't help when you got turmoil in the locker room, and when that happens, right? Like we can't do this show if there's bad blood, right?
Yeah.
If I'm screaming at you every other episode and in an uproar, you're not going to want to do this. And if you do, it's going to be like,
the fuck?
Man, he got one more time to yell at me or something like, you know what I mean? Like, so you got Stephon Diggs being a baby every play, screaming and yelling at the top of his lungs. Then you got Stephon Diggs also wanting to be on SportsCenter every Sunday, because he wants the big plays. He wants to tap his head. He wants to point at people and say, I did you bad and did this, and I'm just this big bad wide receiver. You're absolutely right. You are. But when you be a baby, you drag the team down. So his fantasy numbers are down. He's not looking like the Stephon Diggs of last year. Josh Allen, because he's getting yelled at by Stephon Diggs, isn't being fair to other receivers like a Gabe Davis, who is working his butt off. Gabe Davis's numbers are down when he should be ascending. They should have one of the best 1-2 punches in the National Football League as far as stats go and for fantasy.
Yeah.
I thought Gabe Davis was going to have a great year. He's been down because of that. And also, last but not least, it falls on Josh Allen because he's holding the ball too long, trying to make big plays to Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs is so mad. And then he got his brother tweeting, "Get bro up out of there." Newsflash, bucko. It's after the trade deadline. He's going nowhere. You could have kept those to yourself, which is just making it more turmoil and a dumpster fire and for Buffalo. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, these guys should have fantasy points all over the place, and they can't seem to get it right.
Yeah. So since the whole AFC is now in disarray, I I think that makes an easy path for the Chiefs to walk right back into the Super Bowl again.
Which is terrible. They're going right back to
They're
the
just
Super
going
Bowl.
right back to there's so much disarray in the AFC. It's just so bad. So it's gonna be them right back in the Super Bowl. Oh man, how ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because who's gonna go to the AFC Championship, do you think? This is just a regular football question. Like who outside the Chiefs, who you think's gonna go?
That's a really good
It's gotta
question.
be Miami, right?
I forgot all about Miami.
It's gotta be Miami. Because everybody else is like there's the Raiders, there's the Broncos, there's they're never gonna go there.
I think
the AFC South is terrible. Like Houston, Houston's good, but they're not playoff ready. I don't think. But then you have the Titans and all these. It's like you're not gonna trust them to go anywhere.
The Ravens, because they have game that can travel, right? They
have a good defense, and Lamar is playing good real life football.
He's playing. No. He's not playing. He's playing great real life football.
Yeah.
He doesn't turn the ball over, which is amazing. I mean, he did last week versus
he
the
did.
Browns.
Yeah.
Where he threw that pick and then he got strip sacked. But other than that, like what costly?
Yeah, he's pretty good for the
what
most part.
costly turnovers has he had this year? Not many. And then they can run the crap out.
Unless
the
they see
football.
Derrick Henry for some reason in the playoffs, they always follow Derrick Henry every time.
They're not gonna see them though. I mean, although that division is open, right?
Yeah. Because somebody from that division has to go. So in the AFC South,
that division is open. I'm putting my money right now on the Houston Texans.
I am too.
But
because Trevor Lawrence is not doing it right now, and I love Trevor Lawrence, but he's not doing it right now.
But I think it's gonna be the Baltimore Ravens, which in turn will give Patrick Mahomes something tough. But when the going gets tough, and when you're in the AFC Championship game, you gotta be able to.
Truth be told, I think
balls.
if it is the Ravens, even if they're not at home, if they're in Arrowhead, I still think that they might be able to win, only because the wide receivers, I don't have any faith in any of them to step up when the time is there for Kansas City.
I don't think
I don't know if I can rely on Kadarius Toney. I don't think I can rely on Sky Moore or Marcus Valdes-Scantling to.
But here's it. It says something to have been there before, right? Like moments.
Yeah, Hartman's been there, and some people, so that have been Tony. Yeah,
moments get a little bit big for people when they've never been there before. Also, it's something to be said for a quarterback who can throw and one who can't. When it's that time to make a play, I don't think Lamar's going to be able to make a play. Who cares if you throw
if the person drops it?
Yeah, but then here's also the thing, though, right? They're going to start going into 2 and 3 tight end sets. And I feel as if Noah Gray's on another team, he can be a number 1 tight end. Noah Gray is really good.
Yeah, he's good.
He's really good.
If they used him more, yeah. I mean, they got Kelsey out there, but if they needed him, they could use him more.
That's for sure. So I don't know. Well, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll see. No, it's just an interesting question, And I think for the NFC, it's going to go to be Dallas, but it's going to be the Eagles, and then, gosh, I don't know. I wonder if Dallas could do it this year.
49ers.
You think they'll go back? A repeat?
I don't know. NFC Championship, yes. I don't know if they'll go to the Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
That remains to be seen. But NFC Championship, yes, the 49ers. Their defense is loaded. They have way too many weapons. And Brock Purdy, man, when he's on, he's on. But not only that, right? It's something when it's like, hey, man, I got my dogs with me.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't got Trent Williams and you don't got Deebo Samuel, and we sit back and be like, well, 2 people can really make up that. Yep, They really can. They really can, because now it's you don't got to worry about your blind side, right? And then you got another guy out there that you got to be worried about. If I started going to run routes tomorrow, right, I can catch a little bit and I can run some routes. But they're not gonna be like they're gonna send somebody over there because if I just run free down the field, I'm gonna catch it and score a touchdown. They're
Yeah.
gonna send someone over there. But I ain't Debo Samuel. I ain't running a 4-2
Yeah.
and be able to catch this and make a move and do and then that frees up BIU. Then that frees up George Kittle. Then
Yeah.
that frees up Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Then that
they have
frees up-
everything. Holy cow, they do. They have a litany of options over there that, people say it's a bad thing, but it can be a good thing depending on like, it does give it a little more up and down, but there's no one that they can key on, right? You can't just key on one person. So if you got the guy for that week, you got the guy for that. You got 100 yards and a score. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and here's the thing that I like about them as well. And we're just talking football.
Yeah, we're talking football now.
Here's what I like about them as well, and I think Stephon Diggs should. I think Stephon Diggs should take a picture or a note out of this. Because Gabe Davis, to me, is equal to or greater than Brandon Ayuk.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to skill positions and what they're able to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I think that these guys are one and the same. Brandon Ayuk runs a little bit of better routes, but Gabe Davis has more big play potential because he's a little bit faster. He gets out of his breaks a little bit. He's bigger, stronger. His catch point is a little bit bigger, radius.
You think so?
Like that. Yeah. Yeah. But
I
Brandon,
think Ayuk's radius to me is better, but I think you're right with the big play that if someone's gonna take the top off, I do think Gabe Davis will do that better.
But it's just for what they will give you fantasy wise, for what they will give to your team, these guys are like great second options. They don't.
Oh
They don't complain. They don't fuss. They play their role. They do their thing. Debo, on the other hand, is never complaining. As the number one wide receiver for that team, he never complains about him not getting the ball. He never complains about someone else scoring. He never complains. And that is why they win games.
Yep, there's a team aspect. That is true. There's no disarray there, and that's the thing with the Bills. There's just tons of disarray. And it was like that one thing was with the Vikings, too. There was disarray, which is why they're like, all right, fine, whatever, man. See ya.
Yep.
So.
And that's true.
Yep.
And he had there Adam Thielen balling out. And it's just like, man, okay, we know that you're better than this guy. Just go be it on the field. You don't have to
just go play the game.
Be fussing and fighting and doing all this
you got
other
paid.
type of
You're
stuff.
a great player. You have had decent quarterback play to really good quarterback play through your career. You've had 1,000-yard plus seasons every year. And you've dropped passes. It's not like he hasn't dropped passes or made missteps. So,
I don't necessarily think it's the drops or anything like that. I think it's necessarily.
But what I'm saying is, you still have to realize you're human. You make mistakes. Don't dog your other team for being so trash and bad when you're not perfect either.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I think that is more so him just being a baby and wanting the ball all the time. It don't work like that.
That's stuff that humbled Odell throughout his career when it started early off and everything like that. And, life kind of checked him a little bit and hey, maybe I can't act like this. And now he's a role model. Now he's a lot calmer. Now
Dude is the absolute role model now, right?
He is.
He's a guy. Shout out to my nephew Odell.
Yeah, man. He's a good dude, good player. So
you happy to have him?
Yeah, I am. I like that he's there. I'm happy that I know what it's like to tear an ACL. I know, went through it myself and everything, and I respect that. I respect the multiple times recovering from that. I think that has again humbled him in a way, and I think he brings that a lot. Hey man, our career could be over anytime. Your career could be over at any time. So yeah. Hey man, this was a good riff.
Hey, boom or bust this week? Who you got?
Oh, good question for booms. I think Debo's gonna boom.
Give me. Hey, we know. We know about the guys.
No, but Debo's not a guy because he can be wavy because of what we talked about, right? That the fact that there's so many options could make him one of those guys that's.
Yeah, he has a name though. He's done it multiple times.
Well, you have to say something different because Boomer Bust could be still could be the guys or the guys. Hold on, but I want to define this when we do this in the future. It's more clear. So, you got to do either sleepers, like who's going to be someone that you're not expecting to go off this week, or boomer bust, who's going to carry the load. Because those guys can still be your main guys in boomer bust, right? They can still be the guys that have a great week, or they don't go off this week, you know? And Debo Samuel's not quite Tyreek Hill where it's like, I expect you to go off every week.
Okay. So give me somebody on the lower scale that is going to carry the load. Sleeper.
Okay.
Or somebody.
How far do we consider that sleeper? Because I think Marquise Brown will be one.
Okay, so here's also something that I was gonna say. Someone who has a name, also who hasn't been
Marquise
producing.
Brown. Because Kyler, I think another game with Kyler back, and that I think that's gonna be one. I even tried to trade for Brown. I tried to trade for him because I think Kyler's going to elevate that team quite a bit. He did with McBride, and I think it's Marquise Brown's turn next.
Okay. Anybody else?
Trying to think of people who haven't like cooked in a minute that we could expect to cook, or someone that's like kind of sitting on the sidelines. I think Dell will have another good week. I think that's gonna be because they play the Cardinals, so I think that'll be good because their secondary is only okay at best.
Noah Brown is hurt too.
Oh, so Dell for sure then. Yeah.
Shout out Nico Collins and Tank Dell.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a cook season for them. I'm trying to think about by position too. I'm trying to think of any running backs I think that could like torch up this week and really like go in that are maybe not known.
Brees Hall.
Brees Hall. I just had somebody in mind. I actually think that this will be a good week for Saquon, as bad as the team is, because they're playing Washington.
I don't think so. I was just gonna say I think this is gonna be a good week for Brian Robinson because
I think that too. But they could be one and the same, right? It's like I think it would be good for Tank Dell. I can also think it'd be good for Marquise Brown because neither defense is like gonna do anything to stop anybody. Like, they're not gonna shut that. That's what I think about the Washington New York game. Like as bad as New York is, Saquon is so much superior to that line. They got rid of Chase Young, and now it's just like he could gash them no problem. You don't need you can stack the box. You can still figure it out with those guys.
That's fair. About that. Okay, so here's one that I think is not gonna do so well, and I think he might still have a good game.
And a negative, huh?
Yeah, we got to end on a negative.
Yeah, because Joe Burrow.
So here's one who I think is gonna have I think it's gonna have a decent game because who he is, but he's been cooking as of late, and I think the cooking stops now. I think partly I just want it to stop because I'm playing him in several leagues. I don't know how that happened. But CeeDee Lamb's over 10 receptions, over 150 yards, and over I think 2 touchdowns a game over the last 3. Mm-hmm. And he's been cooking. I think that slows down versus Carolina. I think Carolina, I don't think that they.
I think he goes under 100, but I still think he finds a touchdown for some reason and 8 catches.
Yeah, and that's why I said I think he has a good game, but he's been averaging 10 plus catches, 150 plus yards, and 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games. I mean, he's been.
This could be one of those cook games, though. I think this might be one of those games where they get up by 40 again by the third quarter, and then everybody's done. But everybody has points except for Tony Pollard. Everybody has points.
Yeah, so he was he had 14 catches, 16 catches. Or no, I'm sorry. 12 catches, 11 and 11. 158, 191, and 151, and then a touchdown and all. And
I don't know. I think against the Panthers and their just pitiful circumstance and team, I think he could do a lot of damage early. Get to 100 yards in the first half, get a touchdown and call it.
Well, see, I think J.C. Horn, right? I think that's the young cornerback they have over there.
Yeah. There's tons of young corners he's going against that are good, and it really hasn't done much.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think that
corners period.
I think that they're gonna send J.C. Horn over there with some help over the top. I think that
they better put a lot of help over the top.
I think that Carolina
they better bracket coverage the crap out of them.
I think that's what they're gonna do. I think they're going to.
Yeah, they better put those layers out there
because they're trying to give themselves the best chance to win, and they're gonna have to take away that number one option. So you heard it here first. CeeDee Lamb under 10 receptions and under 150 yards for sure.
Yeah, so he'll get 9 receptions and 125 yards.
149 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, like, what are we really talking about here, though?
He had a game less than what he did last week.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely. What did he do to the dude that traded him last week? He put up like a
38 points, I think it was.
40-piece burger.
Yeah, 38 or 38.9 or something like that.
He gave him a 40-piece burger with some mild sauce.
No, that was full hot sauce. That was that was full hot sauce, man. He cooked on him. So, well, we appreciate you guys, man. This has been good. Just listening to us rant, rave, babble, kind of freestyle a little bit today. Freestyle Fridays for the topics and talk a little actual football, talk a little bit of, or talk fantasy football. How those things, they do correlate sometimes, right? A lot of times. But yeah, it's just kind of good to get these thoughts out and hang out and chat. What you got?
Last thing. Sorry, I keep going.
Talk about it.
Right here on air, next Friday. One of us is gonna be eating some dinner from somebody.
True. We do got the bet going. Prop bet going.
If it's me, I don't know what it is that dinner I'm gonna receive.
Wait, what's our cash value on this dinner? We gotta put a stopper somewhere because I'm a fat kid. I can take your wallet away if I need to.
Oh man,
I know you got kids, so I know you got.
I mean, we're respectable guys. We'll figure that out.
Now if I see that menu, I might change my tone. Change my answer.
Hey, I don't care what it is. This is gonna be a slice of pizza and some soda or something. I don't care, but just know that this right here is it's gonna be on air. I'm gonna do next Friday for sure.
We got other prop bets going too that we gotta really look back at too with Fields and all.
Mike Thomas.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is, we gotta calculate the injury because I know we said barring injury, so I don't know if a lot of those are void because Fields was hurt for like 4 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it was.
I didn't think
Mike
that
Thomas
he was
is out too, so we'll have to reevaluate which ones we got going on.
Man, we better make some new bets, but but we got one for sure.
Oh yeah,
dinner on whoever or whatever it is.
Whoever wins this week.
We're
off to a good start.
Not with 3 points.
Not with the Mark Andrews situation, but Joe Mixon helped save some of that. He had a good week.
Man, I needed Mark Andrews to give me at least 10 before getting out.
Yeah,
but that hurts me in a long run too. I don't have a tight end now, but we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Someone's gonna be eating dinner on set next week, Friday. Hopefully it's me. I'll Philly steak and cheese or something.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So thank y'all for rocking with us, man.
Till next time.
Peace.
Peace.